Hey guys, Dr. Joe Rangel, the bodybuilding PhD, here with video number 3 in our masculinity series. So, just as a review, the 3 pillars of masculinity are respond instead of react, provide structure, and provide safety. And we're talking about safety first. And last video, we broke safety down into the triad of features of safety that you as a masculine person are expected to provide. And we talked about the most important of the 3 of triad, and it was emotional safety. Today, we're going to talk about financial safety. Okay. And this is a topic that a lot of men misunderstand. And I can understand why, because if you go on social media, it is just replete, just filled with examples of terrible people acting terribly, saying things like, I don't want no man who don't make 7 figures a year and, blah, blah, blah. Okay. This is not the norm. And this is also why social media is kind of poison, and why I have seriously limited my own consumption of it, even though I'm here on a social media platform, because it's still a great way to reach people. But you've got to understand, those videos are edited, they pick people, they're scripted, they're not real, okay? And even if they are real, they represent a very tiny segment of the population. The truth of the matter is as a masculine person, providing financial security does not mean providing billions of dollars. It means security, not opulence, not massive amounts of wealth. Here's what I mean by that. The fact of the matter is, and I'm sorry to say, if you believe that love conquers all, and and if you're poor and wearing a sackcloth and living on the street, that's okay because love will get you through. I'm sorry to say that is not the case, because unfortunately, in the modern world, you must have some amount of wealth to have housing, to have food, to pay your bills, to keep the lights on. And if you look at it, this is all establishing security. I'm not saying we got to provide a Breitling watch and a Bentley, but as the masculine, it is your job to provide security. So your female, your woman, your person in the feminine is going to expect you to be able to provide through your efforts enough so that she can feel safe in having a roof over her head. She can feel safe that she will be fed and taken care of. She will feel safe in knowing, where the next meal is coming from, how we're going to pay the bills, if there's kids in the picture, how we're going to take care of the kids, how we're going to send them to school, all these sorts of things. So providing financial safety is less about being rich, because you can do this on very meager means. It's less about being rich and more about being judicious with your spending, being diligent with your work, and constantly trying to make sure that you're making the right decisions to make sure that your girlfriend or your family or your wife or whatnot are taken care of, at least at their base needs. Of course, everybody likes a really fancy dinner and everybody likes to have a high standard of living, and not everybody can. Okay, but that's okay. There's plenty of relationships out there where the man in the masculine and the woman in the feminine are doing just fine, and they're living, at a less than opulent level. Okay, so don't get it twisted. I'm not saying her love language is money. I'm saying that you need to be able to provide that security, and unfortunately, in our world, that security comes through money. So, how do we do this? Well, first of all, let me tell you how we don't do it. Where you start failing in this is when you are taking whatever money it is you earn and you are blowing it, or you're spending it unwisely. You're spending it on alcohol, or going out with the boys, or even going out with her, or drugs or porn or whatever. And it doesn't have to be something insidious like that. It could just be, I went out and I bought a new motorcycle, or I bought new scuba gear or something, and we didn't really have the money for it, right? The feminine will see these kinds of decisions, and yeah, she may enjoy the nice dinner you took her out to, but she will see these kinds of decisions as your failure to prepare for the future and their security. And that is your job, to prepare for their future and the security. And even though she may not like to hear you say, hey, I'm sorry, I can't take you out to Morton's Steakhouse tonight, but the reason I'm not taking you out to Morton's Steakhouse is so that I can make sure that rent is paid for the next month or the next 2 months or whatever, or because we want to go on this nice vacation and I'm squirreling my money away for that. That way I don't have to draw from our savings so that the kids will be safe. Those kind of decisions. I'll give you an example. I had a friend and his wife, and he made very good money. He cleared about 140, 150 a year, which is decent money in any part of this country. And she had her own personal business. Actually, I'm going to come back to her working in a second here. She had her own personal business, so they had a comfortable lifestyle, and that was great. And she was very happy with it until she figured out that he'd actually been spending all of their money on recreational things without really communicating with her. And then when it came down to the point where people were showing up with their hands out, she was left holding the bag saying, I don't have any money for you. Even though I have this beautiful house, we have all these nice toys and everything, his over expenditure of their admittedly large income meant he wasn't providing financial security. Now contrast that with a guy who makes $65,000 a year as a cop, but comes home, budgets his paycheck, make sure the bills are paid first, make sure she's taken care of, make sure the kids are taken care of. And if there's anything left over, maybe we go out to dinner, maybe we don't, maybe we put it in savings. That man is providing financial security, even though the first man was making, over twice the amount of money. The other thing I want to talk about is even if she works. Guys, this doesn't matter. I don't care if she has an 8-figure a year job. I don't care if she is the CEO of some massive multinational company. It is still your job to provide for the family. Okay? And you may say, well, why would I provide for the family? She makes all the money. I understand that. And all that money can be great and be used for things like going to Morton's Steakhouse. Still your job to make sure that the basics are taken care of. And if you don't like the fact that she makes more money than you, then I strongly suggest you get a better job. All right? When I was, I'm going to tell you a little horror story. So when I was a cop in California, I made a little over 100 a year. I was a detective. I had call outs, overtime. I was on the SWAT team. Speak a couple languages, had some degrees. So they gave me all these incentives. So I made pretty decent money. I'm not going to lie. And I had a nice house, and I had a couple nice cars, and we were okay. But I was married to the job. To make all that money, I would work 18, 19, 24 hours a day. And when I came home, I had no time for my family. I was focused on the work, and then I would just collapse into bed. I would get up and go to work the next day. And that is the model of work that my father demonstrated for me, which was admirable because he made sure we had food on the table. But when my wife and I split up, one of the things that she said to me was, you are never present. You are never here. There's no connection. And she actually used these words, you are an amazing provider, but that's all you are. Now, those words hurt deeply. But when I reflect on it, she's correct. I took my role as a husband and a masculine, and I over-focused on this one attribute. And you don't want to over-focus on any of the attributes. You have to find the balance. So yes, provide safety and security in the financial realm, but don't over-focus, right? Now, if you're a guy who's always out there trying to, get rich quick, do your schemes, making weird investments. Oh, I'm going to do this business with my buddy. I'm going to do that business with my buddy. And you've got all these ideas and all these plans. That's awesome. But it doesn't come down to your plans. It comes down to if you can deliver. Gentlemen, I'm telling you right now, all of this comes down to if you can deliver. And if you can't deliver, it don't matter. All right. This may mean you have to go back and reevaluate some of the things you're doing in your life. You may have to actually look and see just exactly how much of the financial responsibility you're placing on your woman. I'll give you one last example. I was dating somebody, and we had a great relationship. It was awesome. I really, really loved this person. But I was making really bad financial decisions. I was kind of the opposite of that I was in California, making super bad financial decisions. And I commonly found myself in need of money. And I would ask to borrow money. And she would lend it to me. And it always felt wrong to be borrowing money from her. Well, eventually we broke up. And then we started trying to get back together a little bit. We were working on it. And somebody called her and told her that I had borrowed money from them. Now, it wasn't true.